With the creak of a wagon wheel and the heavy stink of broken glory, the mountain winds shriek like banshees, flinging snow hard enough to flay skin from bone. It's so cold that even the dead would think twice about lingering. And there, hunched in the back of the wagon, stripped, shackled, arms ruined past saving, sits Khazan. Once, he was the Empire's golden sword, a living banner, and now he's a trophy on a splintered cart being dragged toward a hole that nobody will even bother to name. The guards have their orders. No warmth, no medicine, no mercy. You know, the basics. The soldier's stares are nothing, the gnashing cold even less. Khazan endures not out of hope. Hope's for fools, for poets, but from sheer bloody-minded refusal to give the world the satisfaction. Not that he's alone out here. In the howling dark, something else stirs. Something older than the Empire, something hungrier than the wolves, a ghost long untethered, sniffing for a body stubborn enough to carry its spike just a little further. And in Khazan, it finds everything it could have ever wished for, if ghosts were still allowed to wish. The wagon rattles into a narrow gorge, and that's when the ghost decides to have its way. An avalanche comes roaring down full of murderous cheer, and the wagon sails over the cliff like a drunkard over a railing. And in the chaos, the ghost strikes. It should have been clean, and it should have been easy, but Khazan, the inconvenient bastard that he is, refuses to give in. Bloodied, broken, he clings to his body like a gambler to his last chip, angry at the game and too proud to quit. Two wills collide, thrash, lock teeth, neither master, neither slave. There's no time to sort out the mess they have made. The mountain remains its usual charming self. All bite and no bark. So together, grudging, snarling allies, Khazan and the ghost carve a path through the terrain. But before we go any further, you deserve to know what kind of empire could betray its only heroes. Long ago, when the knives were finally lowered and the rivers ceased their weeping, the scattered city-states of Era joined hands under a single banner. A dream given form, the Pelos Empire, forged by ambition, tempered by blood, and crowned in gold too bright to last. And for a time it thrived, brilliant minds, keener swords, and dreams vast enough to brush the stars themselves. It seemed that peace had finally taken root. But peace is a fragile thing, and empires carry rot like a secret buried deep. It wasn't long before the sky itself turned hostile. He sent no warning, only fire. The berserk dragon Hismar fell upon the world like a cataclysm made flesh. He didn't conquer, he annihilated. Cities cracked like eggshells beneath his talons, and armies dissolved like mist before his breath. Rivers ran thick with ash and bone. The Pelos Empire fought with all it had, with desperation, with fury. But no army, no matter how brave, could slay a dragon with courage alone. Year after year, the Empire shriveled. What once shook the heavens now trembled in rags and ruin, a crown atop a corpse. And yet from the wreckage, two names rose, blazing against the dark. Khazan, the Empire's sword, and Ozma, the Empire's mage. Together, they did what seemed impossible. They slew Hismar. The dragon's death scream echoed through the very bones of the earth, and for the first time in a generation, Erod breathed freely once more. Songs were sung with voices still hoarse from weeping, and the dragon's body brought back to the capital city to be put on display. Khazan and Ozma became legends, not merely men, but titans etched into the very soul of the land. But thrones? Thrones are fragile things, and nothing terrifies a king more than true greatness standing just beyond his grasp. It didn't take long before poison seeped into the Emperor's heart. He named them traitors, the very saviors of the Empire cast down as enemies. The Empire that once sang their praises now buried their names beneath marble and lies. And thus did Erod lose its heroes, not to fire, not to battle, not even to fate, but to fear, to greed, to the slow crumbling cowardice that no sword can cut away. The age didn't end with a roar of triumph. It ended with a whisper, with a scream swallowed by the tide. Sad, isn't it? Anyways, let's get back to Khazan and the mountain pass. Finally staggering into the shadow of Stormfall Pass, Khazan meets Utuga, and the battle's a thing of beauty. If you like your beauty savage and soaked in blood. It's not a fight, it's a demolition, and when it's over, Khazan collapses face first into the snow, little more than a corpse with pinions. And that's where the Bantu find him. Old Kumuk, shrewd as a fox, smells the ghost clinging to him like rot on meat. And she knows the scent. She knows exactly what ruin rides inside him. But the Bantu owe the Empire precisely nothing, and the Emperor's name is spat in the dirt. Khazan, though? Kaz is different. The man who slew the berserk dragon? Even the broken have to respect that kind of stubbornness. And so the Bantu shaman, being no fool, offers him a choice. He can face the same trials, the same brutal rites that the Bantu warriors do, and ask their gods for a shred of mercy. The rules of the trial are simple, straightforward. Whatever revenant he faces, however sweet or hideous its face, it must be banished back into the abyss, or he can refuse. Technically speaking, it is a choice. Realistically, well, let's not pretend. Khazan's gonna face the trials. There's no other way this ends. Not for a man like him. For Khazan, getting his whole body back sounded downright lovely. And so, the trials it would be. Friends, grab yourself a seat and something sweet to snack on, because this tale isn't getting any gentler. Sugar might not save you, but it might soften the blows. Did you get what you need? Good. Well, now, pitter patter, let's get back at her. Kaz circles the mountains where the air is thin and the judgment is thicker. His first trial beside gravestones that are shrouded by mist, they come shambling, wailing, half broken, half mad. Not soldiers, not enemies, just echoes of the people he left behind. And they don't care if it was by choice or by fate. They don't want reasons. They want answers. Why did you abandon us? Why didn't you save us? The questions hang heavy in the cold air as Khazan cuts them down one by one. Blades don't answer questions, and Kaz, he has no words left that could anyways. The first trial ends, and the silence it leaves behind is almost worse. With that still fresh in his mind, Kaz pushes on, and along the way he grows sharper. An arsenal blooms inside him. New skills, darker edges, things learned on the way since his possession. The old Kaz, he might have hesitated. The new Khazan doesn't have that luxury. At the second trial, more revenants wait for him. But these ones, they're different. It's his subordinate. Two of his own. They step forward, not with rage, but with something far crueler. Hope, mixed with confusion. General, is it true? Are you a traitor? We only followed your orders. Does that make us traitors too? It's like a knife hits between the ribs. Because Kaz can't tell if these soldiers are already dead, or if they're still out there, somewhere, rotting under the weight of the guilt he heaped upon them. If the Empire treated him, their own general, like this, what chance does the common soldier have? Kaz fights them anyways, not because he wants to, because mercy is a luxury he cannot afford anymore. The rules of the trial demand they be put back into the abyss. And inside him, the Blade Phantom howls, dry and scathing. Do you think yourself a hero? Kaz? He has to grit his teeth and tune him out. Okay, bro, simmer down, no need to be an asshat. And then comes the third trial, and it strips him bare. No armor, no lies, no myths. He himself throws the question straight at himself. Do you really think you can stand against the Emperor? Wouldn't you rather be him? Give up your honor, your friends. They're already dead because of you. And Ozma's name comes to mind, cutting deeper than any sword. It's not just a battle of blades anymore. It's a battle against himself, against every broken and bitter thing inside. And Kaz fights back the only way he knows how, by surviving it, by beating himself back into the abyss. Victory comes, but it tastes like ash. And just when he thinks he's earned just a breath of fresh air, what the heck pose is this? Oh, okay, Kaz isn't done here. He meets the Blade Phantom. This time, no hidden whispers, no snide comments from the shadows, just the Blade Phantom himself standing there in all his arrogant, insufferable glory. And he calls Khazan a stupid little mortal, like a sack of meat dressed up in broken dreams. There's no escape, and Kaz fights like his life depends on it. Because it does. Every move, every heartbeat is a gamble, and somewhere between trading blows with death itself, Kaz sees it clearly. Once he was hailed, a hero, marching under banners, drowning in praise. And where did it take him? To betrayal, for ruin, to this bleeding out in the dark with nothing but ghosts for company. Whatever this strange arrangement with the Blade Phantom has been, distant, wordless, uneasy, it gave his body time to heal. It let him breathe. It had given him enough time to realize that survival meant nothing without purpose. And so Khazan makes a choice, not out of trust, not out of hope, out of something colder, necessity. "Help me take vengeance," he says, bloody but unbowed, "and I'll help you finish your mission." The Blade Phantom, who couldn't lose him, couldn't use him, and never quite knew what to make of him, reluctantly agrees. Because at this point, why the hell not? An alliance is born, and the trials are over. Waiting back at the mountain's edge is Kumuk. She sees Khazan, the marks of possession still scrolled across his spirit and sighs. Not with anger, not with disappointment, but with something close to mourning. "Your fate has changed," she informs him, with a voice as steady as the mountains themselves. She wishes she could have guided him longer, but that role now belongs to Blade Phantom. Oh shit, you might be thinking. This is definitely gonna go great. With Kaz's new guide, the journey shifts, no longer bound to the mortal plane. He's transported to the Crevice, a realm suspended between the Netherworld and the world of the living. It's a liminal space, a scene where the two dimensions bleed into each other. Few may enter, and fewer still may leave. Those who do pass through do so at the behest of one power alone, Charon, the sovereign of the Netherworld. The place resembles ancient ruins adrift in a void, half dream, half nightmare. Past crumbling entire stairways that lead to nowhere, just into oblivion, and gravity seems a polite suggestion rather than law. There's a purgatorial weight to the atmosphere, as if the stones themselves remember what it is to die, and it's here that Kaz learns a dire truth. The energy of the Netherworld is being siphoned away. It's here in this place that Khazan meets an alchemist, mysterious but perhaps useful. Yet even more, Phantom Blade and Kaz are separate in this realm. Their bond is still new, still tenuous, and there's no partnership of trust, only mutual necessity. Phantom Blade speaks, an amalgam of long-dead warrior souls. It carries the weight of hundreds, if not thousands of battles. It instructs Khazan that spirits can be added to the blade, strengthening it with every soul bound. The time has come to gather more power. Two paths open before Kaz. One leads back to Stormfall Pass to find a worthy spirit, and the other towards the Embar Mountains, where the Forgotten Temple awaits, and where the leak of Netherworld energy must be stopped. The way to the temple is unnerving. No snow falls here, although the land whispers of autumn. It feels like echoes of Elysium's fields, almost beautiful if not for the animated dead and the reeking remnants of bandit corpses. Kaz chooses the path forward. The temple itself looms, massive and ancient, and within, the Dragonkin have taken residence. And oh my goodness, Dela Gracious, they are not just idle occupiers. Kaz finds some of them in solemn formation, prayers offered in reverence before something chained. A red glow throbs around it, an imprisoned beast, perhaps a Dragonkin, or something worse, Hismar perhaps waiting to be reborn. The temple offers more questions than answers. As Kaz ventures deeper, he finds prison cells, long abandoned, yet not empty of meaning. There's unease in this silence, and then, unexpectedly, there's music. A bard stands by the corpse of a bandit, strumming in the dark, absurdly calm. He claims no interest in grave robbing, only poetry. Yet, like most things in this land, he has wares to sell, if one has the coin. Sound presses on, descending below the temple, and there the Blade Phantom sighs, a sound of memory, or perhaps regret. Oh, no, it's annoyance, it seems. Zephrona. A scholar of the Netherworld, she greets them not with surprise, but with something colder. She notes that the Blade Phantom has at last found a vessel strong enough, but her message is not one of reunion. She's Charon's voice, and his will is iron. The Dragonkin are stealing energy from the Netherworld. Punish them, Phantom Blade. Lord Charon demands it, but your service does not end here. She gestures to the pulsing device at the temple's core, a construct, ancient and malign, still draining power from the Netherworld. But this is no accident of time, it's design. And behind it, the Dragonkin's ritual, a history. The Aradians built this temple, she explains, drawn by the power they sensed. They worshipped spiritual entities, but they also crafted that machine, stealing the Netherworld energy for their own advancement. Lord Charon learned of their theft. He sent his agents, and the Aradians were punished. The temple was buried in time, forgotten, until now. The Dragonkin have reawakened it. And thus, the stage is set, not just for battle, but for reckoning. Of course, stopping the siphoning of Netherworld energy was never going to be as simple as flipping a switch. No.
Kaz has to move statues, he has to fight his way through dragonkin entrenched deep in the temple, each one more desperate, more violent, as if they can feel what's coming. Somewhere in the bowels of this stone carcass lie 3 arcane mechanisms, humming with stolen power and stubborn magic. One by one, Kaz finds them. Each one's guarded, because of course they are. But he doesn't back down, with steel, blood, and that quiet, stubborn resolve that he never quite admits to. He flips each switch. The machine stutters, the drain slows, and finally, it stops. And then the door to the heart of the temple can now be opened. He wasn't looking for it. Not exactly. But somehow, it opened just the same. As if the temple wanted him to see what lay beyond. As if someone had planned it. He feels the energy, and it reminds him of Hismar. Ahead, the new leader of the Dragonkin awaits. Inside, he finds Viper. The new Dragonkin leader doesn't introduce himself. He doesn't need to. The battle erupts without preamble. It's brutal, fast, ugly. Kaz gives it everything he has, and it's barely enough. And then, Viper raises the stakes. He produces a single, jagged scale, Hismar's scale, and he drives it into himself. Oh shitballs, this can't be good. What follows isn't a mythic battle. There's no music, no glory, just raw weight. That terrible, familiar presence, Hismar's, it fills the chamber again like smoke clawing its way back into the lungs. Viper's faster now, stronger, unnatural. As they clash, memories of Hismar's fall surge back. Of Kaz and Ozma standing victorious, only to be met with the jealousy of the Emperor and the nobles too close to the throne. Chief among them was Pavel, the first to turn against Khazan. What should have been a moment of honor turned sour, with scorn and disgrace and betrayal. Here, at the heart of the Forgotten Temple, Khazan renews his vow. To Ozma, to justice, to vengeance. The fight is punishing. One mistake means death, but somehow Kaz wins, and Viper falls. The machine is silent, the leak is stopped, and the netherworld breathes easier. And now, with its energy flowing again, the crevice begins to open, to bend. Blade Phantom feels it, a shift. The crevice is stabilizing. Khazan can bring others with him now, those he trusts or those who can help. For now, the Forgotten Temple is quiet. But Kaz, he has so much more to do. And so, back into the crevice he goes. With the troubles that plague the Empires now resolved, Defrona opened the realm of the living within the crevice. Khazan hears there are visitors who have come to see him. Bamuk, the merchant grandson of Kormuk, he came to Kaz asking for help, saying that Frau village was under attack by the Dragon King, and Frau is in Pavel's territory, and he had yet to arrive. Pavel would be arriving to assist the village. The news of Pavel's impending arrival made Khazan's heartbeat quicken. He could soon face the very first person who had betrayed him. Khazan internalized his glee. His chance for vengeance came sooner than he had expected. Pavel would be the first to die, and soon enough, the Emperor would share his fate. But as Kaz arrives at a village aflame, the Dragonkin have decimated this place. They're here like the war had never ended. There's no mercy for the residents of this place. The streets are littered with what's left of the villagers. The stench of burning flesh and buildings fills the air. As Khazan fights his way through the streets and houses routing the Dragonkin from this place, he finds an evacuation order from Pavel. At least he had sent word to try to save his people, and from the looks of this place, it hadn't mattered, but at least it's something. Some shred of decency. All survivors are to make their way to the central warehouse. It's the most secure and has enough supplies for everyone, issued by Lord Pavel. So, Kaz fights his way to the storehouse. It's a building that once sheltered the frightened and the hopeful. Now it trembled beneath something far more primal. Inside, rage and sorrow had taken form. A creature stormed the central chamber, swinging a warped hammer in one hand and dragging a massive crooked nail in the other. It moved like grief incarnate, lumbering, relentless, and loud. The floor cracked and hissed beneath its strikes, fire boiling up through the broken stone. The old children's game, the floor's lava, became a deadly truth. Every step was a gamble. One wrong move, and the veins of fire would devour Kaz whole. Khazan steadied himself. This wasn't just a beast, it had a name once. Volbane. The village children had called it Volby. According to the notes left behind by a folklorist, Volby had once wandered the valleys of Bro, playing with the children and hiding from adult eyes. It was shy, peaceful. Some thought it divine. One log entry spoke of awe, of a creature so gentle. But that was before the Dragon King came, before something twisted its mind. Another entry weeks later marked Volbano's disappearance. Concerns began to bloom in the village, and then silence. The final log told the rest. Its body was withered, eyes wild with madness, its roar chilled the spine. Whatever it once was, it is no longer. Something wicked has taken hold of it. And now, Kaz saw that horror firsthand. Volbano was no longer a companion to children. It was a furnace of agony lashing out at the world that had failed to save it. He fought hard, not for glory, not for vengeance, but for mercy. Every blow he landed felt like betrayal. Every dodge around its fury carried the memory of what it used to be. And when it finally collapsed, the silence that followed wasn't peace. It was mourning. There was no time to linger. The beast was dead, but Pavel was still missing. In the aftermath, the pink-haired woman stepped forward, voice calm, but there was something sharp in her gaze. She called herself Element. She knew who he was, called him the Empire's hero. Asked didn't flinch, but the words struck like an open wound. She claimed that Pavel was still in Palamon, left his own people behind, not even a whisper of his presence during the Dragonkin raid, nor of the Volbano rampage. Just silence. Things must be bad there too if they're keeping him from aiding the village. Elamane offered him a path forward, through Scoffa Cave, a shortcut to the city. Kaz? He didn't hesitate. Whatever had become of Pavel, Kaz would find out soon enough. And if fate was kind, that meeting would end with steel. She said the quickest path to Palamon ran through Scoffa Cave, but that it was cursed, twisted the earth, warped creatures within, changed things. She warned him again, more forcefully the second time. But warnings don't sway a man like Khazan, not when vengeance drives him forth like a second heartbeat. The cave was wrong from the first step. Too still, the earth thick with rot, and something worse, something old. And the spiders. Oh, Zetus Lepidus, the spiders. They should not be that big. But they were, massive, attacking at the son of food. A journal was found half-digested beside a collapsed satchel. An ecologist notes, it spoke of strange violet veins running through the ground, of a spider drawn to them, of how it changed, grew, until it brushed the ceiling and its body streaked with green and red like bruised metal. A warning, or a record of what was already too late. The deeper Khazan went, the more the cave twisted. And then came the jesters. Yoma. Phantom didn't like that. He rarely reacts, but this time he did. Their kind needed otherworld energy to survive. This place, for all its sickness, shouldn't hold any. And yet the Yoma danced in shadow, painted masks flashing, blades hungry. No answers, just resistance. But the goal never changed. Survive the cave, get to Palamon. He wasn't alone. Not entirely. Khazan found the bard in a hollow where no one should be. This seems to be the case with him. In a dangerous place he shouldn't be in. He told a tale of a man named Digger. Of a poison that could kill and cure. He told it like it mattered. And maybe it did. Khazan filed it away, like a blade he might need one day. And then came Erita. On the approach to her lair, Elamane found a Bantu-born blacksmith legend, wrapped in web but still breathing. Even bound and half conscious, he radiated iron. We'll come back to him later. But Erita was a spider. Largely in name only. She was huge, smarter. Her webs could stop a charging bull. Her bite could split a man in half. A byproduct of the cave's corruption, of whatever power gnawed the stone and bled from violet veins. The battle was on. And it was a little irritating, truth be told, but Khazan landed the killing blow. Or so he thought. Behind him, something stirred. Slick, wet, and silent. Elamane saw it. No warning, no cry, just motion. She broke into a sprint across the lair, blade already drawn, and for a moment Khazan thought she was charging him. But no, her eyes were fixed past him. Erita. She didn't hesitate, didn't explain, she didn't need to. The blade came down like judgment, clean and final. Khazan turned just in time to see the corpse folding in on itself, limbs curling like burnt paper. He looked at Elamaine. A word formed on his tongue. She wasn't just a scout, not just a guide, not just another ghost clinging to the journey. She was a warrior. And for the first time in days, Khazan felt something that wasn't fury. He felt respect. The path to Palamon lay open. Scout the Cave had been a test. Khazan, he had passed. But vengeance waits beyond the dark. Halimian is burning. Not a metaphor. Not an exaggeration. Flame and ash are all that remain of the once proud town. Smoke chokes the sky, and bodies line the street like broken promises. The Nightfell had come, and they did not come quietly. Khazan had come looking for Pavel. He couldn't find the man he remembered. He found a town in ruin, laughter from looters, and a familiar ache in his chest. History was repeating, and the smell of it, that was unmistakable. On our way through the town, a wanted poster fluttered in the wind. Wanted. Rankus and Branginkus. Twins. Bandits. Sadists. Reward 100,000 gold each. Signed by Pavel himself. But there's no time for bounties. Judging from the scorched corpses and the silence that followed, nobody had been strong enough to collect. Word spread fast. Pavel was still alive. Khazan slipped through a breach in the citadel wall, moving like shadow past flames and enemies. Inside, a letter awaited him. Imperial seal intact. The orders clear. Kill Khazan and Ozma. Burn the evidence. They didn't burn it fast enough. Or maybe they just sucked at following directions. The Emperor had signed his name. Ooh, isn't that cute? In the basement, he found a deserter, but not one of Pavel's. It was a Nightfell. Weird. His name's Andel. He's nervous and begging. I left them, he said, and I'll tell you where they are. Pavel, Rankus, even the Nightfell base. Suspicious, but useful. It's odd, but Khazan would take what he could get. And then Khazan found them. Pavel and a hostage. One of Khazan's own. Tristan. Pavel was being cut down by Rankus himself. Oh, we're not friends with this guy. Okay, got it. Rankus knew Khazan on sight with a simple, "It's you." Rankus tried to strike first. He always did. A creature carved by abuse and hatred, he hunted middle-aged men as a stand-in for his father. During raids, he made them speak his name before killing them. This time, he met someone who knew exactly who he was, and wasn't afraid to say it. Kaz wasn't one to fear the rabble. Fluff your daddy issues, bro him. Khazan put him down. Madness and savagery like that don't get a redemption arc. Tristan survived. He told Kaz everything. The letter to Viteron? Lost in the bush. The torture? Brutal. Unforgiving. But Pavel had saved him. Revealed the Emperor's plot. Pavel had worn the mask of traitor to protect the truth. To protect Khazan. To protect his people. Oh. It seems that the Great General was incorrect. Ugh. Pavel's final words to Tristan were simple. Keep them safe. His people. So Khazan did. Tristan did. The Nightfell? Their grave would be in the Dawn Quarry. Their sins would not go unanswered. Khazan would see to that. For Pavel, for Tristan, for anyone who still believed in something worth fighting for. And this is where we're going to close the book on part 1. It might not be the version of Khazan the First Berserker you're used to, but it's this lore teller's version. Next time, we head into the depths of the Dawn Quarry, and trust me, things are about to get a lot messier. But remember, we're not here to judge, we're just simply here to tell his tale. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey, consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on part 2. And now, in our classic snacks and stories fashion, grab a treat, sip something cozy, and take a moment for yourself. You have earned it. Till next time, may your week be peaceful and your snacks plentiful, and your stories, I hope they're unforgettable.